Hello, welcome back to the ladder. We're gonna start with, I think, Ashton's. Yeah, we're starting with Ashton's story. Now, this one's gonna be a lot interesting, because considering that he's always denied the whole supernatural thing. Parties have never really been my thing. They're always such a hassle and take so much time off my day. Prior plans and commitments cancelled, all for the sake of playing along with others.
Welcome everyone.
I hated them even as a child.
Please, make yourselves at home.
But Mom often insisted she'd slick my hair back, put me in one of those stuffy dinner jackets, and if there were any children around, urged me to make friends. Never mind how utterly loud and tedious it was all for the sake of keeping up appearances. To some extent, lies have often surrounded me long before I'd chosen what I want to do in my life. Luckily, there were easy ways to tune everything out. Much to my mom's frustration, I've always managed to sneak my CD player along. I kept to myself and to my music. I had my own little world until I learned to observe. It's a simple matter of awareness, really. For someone with keen eyes, a skewed necktie or a simple flick of wrist alone could tell volumes about a person. I still don't like parties, especially ones as big as fancy as a Christ's housewarming. However, when there's actual reason to go to them, I figure they're not too bad. So we're starting at the housewarming party.
Be careful with Shirley, alright?
Besides, like it or not, it's all part of the job. I'm here on a mission. One that has the name Luke Wright plastered all over it. You'd think the man would want to remain inconspicuous after his name was linked to several high-profile crimes across Luxembourg. Granted, most of it had gone cold over the years, having stagnated without any lead or evidence, but that still doesn't make him any less suspect. Yet here he is, throwing a party in his own backyard. Although having observed the man this past year, I'm not even shocked. He craves it, the damn spotlight. Constantly yearns for attention like a neglected puppy. It doesn't take a genius to figure out why he's nowhere to be found in his own party. But that's not the problem here. What pisses me off is how far his reach extends. How close he has creeped into the lives of the people I care about. Again, like a stubborn itch you couldn't get rid of. First Professor Clark, then there's Isabella. I also spotted Z-Man here a while ago, and now there's also Rebecca.
Can't you at least act with a bit more shame?
Becca, if I find a single scratch on Shirley, there will be hell to pay.
There'll also be hell to pay if he so much as harms a hair on either Zach or Rebecca's heads. Worrying about Isabella's brief dealings with him is stressful in itself already. I doubt he'll move anything in front of other people, though. They would tarnish his glorious reputation, and he values appearances more than anything. That doesn't necessarily mean he isn't capable of it. More than, in fact, on the off chance he does something. I wouldn't be responsible for my actions.
Those guys know what they're doing. They're handling cars worth more than your precious Shirley.
For Zachary's and Rebecca's sakes, however, I really hope this will simply be another housewarming party. Even though someone tells me it's anything but. Call it a detective's intuition or whatever. When Luke Wright's involved, nothing good has ever come out of it. I can't let my guard down here. Even more so when a familiar car slows to a stop and out comes.
Chief?
My presence here might be odd at best, but I have an excuse. One that this man handed to me himself a year ago, along with a heavy dose of flattery for the new promoted detective inspector. Can't exactly say the same for my good old boss, can I? Although to see him here chatting it up with Luxembourg's rich and famous, he isn't such a big surprise in itself. No disrespect meant. The guy's obviously a social climber. What is surprising is the fact that he seems all too eager to mingle with a person of interest's wife. What the hell is he doing here?
Ashton, what's...
Sorry, Becca, I just saw someone I need to catch up with. Longtime friend.
What the shit is going on here?
Oh wait, Ash! What about...
This won't be long. Be careful while I'm gone, okay?
Hey, be careful! About what exact...
I don't want to draw attention to myself either, at least not until he's given me a proper reason to spoil his little party.
Thank you for the invite, Anna. Husband still missing, I see?
I should be saying the same of your darling Rochelle, Lee. The doctors again.
For now, the best I can do is wait and remain inconspicuous, especially with Chief here, whose motives are dubious at best. If it means having to pretend I don't know Zach or Rebecca or forcing myself to rub elbows with people I barely know, let alone like, then so be it. I can't involve anyone. Wandering is out of the question as well when there are guards and civvies stationed here and there. Sure, getting past them is something I could do with ease, but I'd rather not right now. When I'm one of the few snooping and roaming about, people have to try and do so once there's a crowd of people. And their interior designer's drunken claims to be believed.
Yes, well, what about Luke? Should we file a missing persons report now, or do you want to wait 24 hours?
He's around.
You know, I can tell if someone's bluffing.
And all come down to how well I'll play my cards tonight. Well, the good hand is, this party's going to give me the breakthrough I need to crack Luke right, or something to prove my suspicions wrong. Maybe find out what kind of game my boss is also playing. But an inkling before, a few hunches tempered down by how much of a bumbling fool the man appears. But one does not simply deal with the rights and get involved to a party they host without wanting anything from either of the two. Or it's the other way around. So with a last weary glance at the two, I head into the ballroom. I just hope this will not complicate things further. Shit. By the time the party's in full swing, night has fallen, yet there still isn't a Luke right in sight. Man can be quite ostentatious, but this sprinkling I'm impressed. I don't even know how many hors d'oeuvres I've already stuffed my face with. One too many, probably. The server already giving me a stink eye every time I saunter over the buffet table. I'm your employee, not me. He's the one who had the guts to show up late. Besides, most of this idle talk is concentrated in this area, despite standing under the same roof with the very people they were whispering about. Some just couldn't resist. And I'll give an ear for any useful info.
Is Suarez still fixing that tech problem?
Tech problem.
It's been 3 years. Sooner or later, the Blighter will put 2 and 2 together.
He might have already.
If the red tape I'm being slammed with these past few months suggests anything. That or someone's been pulling the strings. I wouldn't be shocked if this case would not have gone this long if Scumbag didn't have mules some kind in the force.
Shush you, we all know Suarez just wants an out.
I knew he was bad news the day the merger with Evans Incorporated happened.
Feh. Glad I did not have to deal with that. But keep it down, someone might hear. The wife especially.
Sound negligence has always been an advantage, but sometimes I wish I could be smashed drunk while doing this. Having short beers also means you get to hear the most unsavory things. Cheater and who this week, one person's motive for bashing someone's skull against the wall, or if others succeeds for burning his own daughter alive, that sort of stuff. After a few years, it gets tiring to get desensitized to it. But humans could also be downright awful. Sometimes there simply isn't enough brain bleach in the world. Tell you the wine is a no-go tonight, mostly for show. I'm up for another drive later, for one, and I definitely want to be sober in case anything comes up. And something always comes up in assignments like this. A detective inspector dying of cardiac arrest, for example. Because I can feel the moment my heart grinds to a halt the second I shut my eyes to a corner of the ballroom.
Hana right.
Some will say I'm actually a touch bit paranoid, and maybe I am. But this is a party, and she's the hostess. Goes to say that she'd take time to mingle with her guests. But Hannah Wright Nee Evans isn't without her fair share of accolades. At least to the public, she doesn't seem like it. Unlike her husband, she's the one with the business sense, not to mention the impressive track record needed to manage a company, or effectively hide whatever irregularity there might be. She's clean as far as my agents I have found, but doesn't involve the possible involvement in whatever her husband's up to. Now, Lucra came out clean in previous reports until I bothered to take a deeper look at it. What I found may not be sufficient but to bring anyone to trial yet, but it's enough to nurture suspicion. This may be a bit of an overreaction, but one last long in my line of work by being careless.
You would catch his eye a lot better if you wore nicer clothes, don't you think?
Didn't realize the housewarming was going to be this fancy. I would have gone with a nice dress if I knew.
Nothing to be worried about then. She's probably more careful with appearances than her own husband, having grown up with the spotlight focused on her. And even knowing that the anxiety stays has been there since the party started, I pushed off her rather. Who wouldn't feel itchy, right? I've gone undercover in a party hosted by the very person I'm investigating. That in itself is risky and has plenty of room for error. Usually, though, the tension passes around the first hour or so. I've been trained to remain composed in situations like this. However, with each second I spend here, it only grows heavier and ceases to overwhelm. An odd feeling that someone is watching me instead. It's been like this since last week, but I should already be used to this. People would be looking at me no matter how small or big of a blip I am on the radar. That's what they do in these things. When the feeling of eyes burning in the back of my back when lingers longer than an hour, I'm hearing it now. I've been looking around every now and then to catch the culprit. No luck. And despite my effort to push the sensation as far as I could, tiny pinpricks continue to sting the back of my head, and the ghost of a cold touch creeps up my limbs, till my gaze switches back to Rebecca and Hannah Wright. She stands there, dark-haired and dirty, sticking out like a sore thumb. Oh, right, that happened. So he does see her. Even so, no one seems to notice. While she's looking away from me, her mere existence here strikes, disturbs. A sense of tunnel vision binds while I stand stock still and gape at her, like my life depends on making sure she stays where she is. I feel trapped in her presence until another guest bumps into me, yanking me out of my stupor. Only then do I realize that I've been holding my breath. Before I can figure out what happened, she is gone. A quick scan of the room yields no sign of her. The party continues as if nothing's amiss. I'm not really one to judge, but I'm sure someone like that would not have been allowed to do a fancy thing like this. What are they scared of being doing? Are they really that incompetent for someone so distinct to easily get in without notice? Okay, so he can see her, but he's just assuming it's an actual person for some reason. There should have been an outcry by now, particularly from the host. She'd been standing there almost an arm's length away from the woman, yet she simply continues her talk with Rebecca.
Oh, the professor! And your little Becky!
My parents couldn't make it since they're in Scotland right now. And Mom says hi, by the way.
Is there something in the food then that I'm starting to see things? It couldn't have been the wine though. Every bit as sober as when I first stepped off my car. The hors d'oeuvres. Why would anyone want to do that? Why would Luke want to do that? He's fishy, but I couldn't see why he'd ever think it'd be a good idea to lace the food he'd served in his party with someone like Chief Lee on his guest list to boot. He's been leaked to narcotics trade, yet, however, that kind of tactic is below him, that much I could tell. Unless there's a mass murder waiting to happen near tonight, which I highly doubt. So,
What the fuck was that?
yeah. But there's no time to look deeper into this, even if I want to. Not when a telling silence comes upon the room and draws everybody's attention to the main door of the ballroom.
About damn time.
Good evening, ladies and gents. Enjoying the party? I hope I'm not too late in welcoming you all to the right mansion.
How many times have I seen this? I've been telling this guy for a while now, but before that, I heard stories from previous officers who tackled this case, none of which are pleasant. Mind, I'm not counting the incident with Purser Clark, yet pleasant is glossing over the gravity of it. Albright's good at covering whatever shady stuff he's doing. He's shown to be a really rotten guy. At least that's the case when he thinks none of his peers are around to judge him. I've got track of how many counts of verbal abuse and harassment cases the guy could be pinned with. Standing in the same room as him doesn't make me want to punch him any less. Actually, there are just stronger protocols. My case, first and foremost. My own opinion of the man shouldn't get ahead of my purpose here. If I want to put him in his place, it should be in a court with all the proper charges filed against him. I'll be able to do that once I gather enough evidence to pin this bastard down.
Welcome, one and all, to our humble abode. Tonight, if you have yet to find yourself in your roles, you are all ladies and lords of the court of your king and queen, if you would excuse my presumptuousness. So, enjoy the feast that has been laid out for your senses as we only allowed the best to be served. Enjoy the rest of your night, everyone!
Cursing my annoyance, I'm prepared to step away from the crowd. My situation perhaps now is a good time. Anyway, we'll try to find out something the McCullough woman was talking about. In the first place, I have no plans to actually shake hands with the Signball himself. A fake smile pops around my face while I pretend to listen to one of the other guests gossiping about him, all while slowly inching out of the ballroom. Unfortunately, before I get any further...
Are you feeling ill, Rochelle?
This happens again.
Perhaps you need to sit down and...
Rich people only have two ways to resolve their mess. Either they quietly deal with it behind closed doors, or they create a problem out of it, and it just blows up in everyone's faces one way or another. Fun.
No! Shut it, you monster! I ain't talking to you! I'm talking to this scumbag over here!
Oh wait, it's Rochelle. Rochelle's... And I didn't even realize that it was Rochelle.
You bloody bastard, standing there with your smarmy smile!
And even a few seconds in, this is already proving itself to be a big public spectacle. Why spend money on television by daytime soap operas? You could just go to one of these parties and see the action unfold in real life. You get free food too. Really, if I were an actual guest, I'd just take this as some solid form of amusement.
Watch your tongue! You're on thin ice, Rochelle. Where's your husband? Who even invited you?
But I'm not a guest here. Who's here for a good time. I need to focus on him even through this whole sorry tale. So I wait, I listen, I observe. Interesting, isn't it though? That's the chief inspector's wife. So yeah, a bit of a shorter episode, but that's kind of the way I'm doing this, with going when it goes to another day in the story, that's when I cut the episode off now. So it seems like it's either going to be an hour long or 20 minutes. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. We get that first taste of Ashton's story, starting off later than I thought it would. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. If you did, subscribe, check out other stuff I've done, and yeah, see you next time. Bye bye.
You bloody bastard!